Today I'm going to work on the VR4 a little bit, not very much, but I want to, well, one thing I did was the paint guy next door to us had one of these. Trevor was using it, and you know, for small stuff and stuff you can't really use the large buffer on, it works really good. I'll put a link in the description for it, but it is a Milwaukee. It's meant for polishing and sanding, so it has two settings. The first setting is 0 to 2800 RPM. Second setting is 0 to 8300 RPM for sanding. So it does come in handy. What I'm going to do is use some of this, you know, machine polish, and I'm going to get the roof area all the way finished and you know, ready for the roof glass. I'll also this piece right here has been wet sanded, and I just need to hit it with some compound and then actually use some polish on it, and then I can technically, officially, let's not scratch it though, officially you know, put it up here and have it permanently mounted too, because it goes right there. And when I get that roof glass, I could put the roof glass on, and that'll be one less thing that I really have to worry about, because the roof area will all be done. And since most of it's glass, it isn't like, it's not like that big of a, you know, there's not that much paint. So I'm gonna work on that today, and you know, it already looks really nice and shiny, but it hasn't been polished yet. It's just been compounded. Finished polishing that piece back here. This was definitely difficult just because, you know, you have to hold it and it's very awkward, but yeah, it's polished. So I can't bolt it down yet because there's clips that go on these, and then back here you can see the things are gone. They're actually right here. What I'm gonna do is these popped off when I pulled it, and what I'm gonna do is just panel bond these on to where they're supposed to go, and when it is dry tomorrow, I could clip it back on and then bolt it in, and that will be pretty much, the roof will be complete other than the roof glass, and you know, all this is nice and done. So this is the panel bond that I have from 3M. I don't have a gun because, I don't know, they're pretty expensive, but I'm going to, you just mix like 50-50, and then just put it on the surface, and so whatever this stuff's glued to, it's not going to come apart. So I'm going to do both those things, and then tomorrow I should be able to put that piece on, and that'll be one more piece that is finished. And then I'll just have to worry about, I really want to see I want to get the quarter panels fixed, and I want to see the calipers in that yellow, so I can't wait. I really want to see like some canoes under there with that yellow, but we'll that'll work for now. So I ordered some stainless brake lines for front and rear, so when those come, I'll do that, and I'll probably do an ABS delete like I did on that Talon I used to have, and shouldn't be too difficult, because I just have to run one brake line over here and one over there, and then use the proportioning valve. The one from the NA works, so shouldn't have any issues. So now those are panel bonded on. They will have to dry overnight 24 hours and it'll be rock solid, and I can put that on the car. So now I'm pretty much done with the VR4, what I was gonna do with it today. And I'm probably going to do some stuff with the FD. I wanna make some lines for the fuel system. And you know, I still don't have the bracket for the fuel pressure regulator, but I can make the lines from the, you know, from the primary to secondary rail. Now that I have the dash 6 or 6 and fittings, and you know, it'll be a little bit closer to being done once I get the bolts and the rest of the parts. And I also almost forgot I need to design something else. I want to design a little thing for the thermostat. It's because the stock thing has like this chamber that literally goes pretty much like nowhere. It's just like it has a inlet and like no outlets. They're all plugged. So I'm not exactly sure what it's for, but I just want to make it come out. Right now I'm going to use the old thing, but later on when I redo the radiator and air cooler, I'll have that made, and I'll make a swirl pot. So I'll utilize the stock sensors that go in it, but then I'll have a swirl pot, and it will go into the radiator from there. So it'll eliminate all the air bubbles that may be trapped, and swirl pots are really good because they create a vortex in them. Alright, so it definitely took me a little bit of time to remember how to do hard lines. I haven't done any in a long time, and yeah, so I don't know, it was, I had a few mistakes and then some other stuff with the 45-degree flare tool, you know, just, now it should be good. But I finished making the, oh yeah, it's nighttime out now. So I finished making one of the fuel lines. Let me see, turn this around. Alright, so I finished making one of the feed lines, and well, actually this is the only feed line that I need to make. The other one comes from the back of the primary rail and then goes to the fuel pressure regulator, and then this one right here goes to the fuel pressure regulator. So yeah, that's a hard line. You can see the anodized fittings and the CJ Motorsports fuel rails. So I still need that bracket, so I'll make these lines once I get that bracket. And yeah, I like how that line turned out. The reason it took so many attempts was because, you know, that 180 isn't a big deal, but this 45 right here, to get it to line up and not have tension on it and to be exactly what it needs to be, yeah, it takes a couple attempts. So yeah, that fits right in there. It's all and fittings and hardline, and the feed, the fuel feed back here is a flex line, because that needs to be. But I do like hard lines a lot better. They do look a lot cleaner, and yeah. So FD's coming along, and just doing little things as I can. Still waiting on parts. So the more little stuff I do now, the less I have to do later. So I am going to be done tonight. I'm glad I got that hard line done. It did take a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I need to cut those so I can get those little tube ends off, and gonna clean all this stuff up, and then yeah, then you can see that hard line is just in there all nice and tucked in, so you know, I don't have to worry about it rubbing up against anything. You know, it's where it's at. And once I get, you know, the rest of the bolts and everything, like I keep saying, I could finish this thing. So I'm glad that it's, you know, I got that done. And the thing to note about, I don't know, the thing that I really realized when I was doing this is you need to pretty much measure stuff. So, you know, to figure out where you're going wrong if you don't ever measure anything, like the first couple. And a few of these I pretty much scrapped because the tube had dents in it. This one I'm pretty sure had a dent in it. And then I saw this one had a dent in it. So not all of them were like mistakes. Some of them were just, you know, no, this one was a mistake, and those other two right there were mistakes. But it's just this stuff gets wound up and then shipped through a shipping company, and they just throw it around. It's aluminum, so it gets dent. You can see a dent right there too, a pretty big one. So I mean, it just gets thrown around, and yeah, there's actually quite a few dents in this, but it's you know, you don't want to have dents in your lines that you just spend all that time bending. So I am pretty excited to get this thing back together. I really want to see how much power it's going to make with the larger injectors and a new tune, and I also want to see how these tires feel, because these are the Nenno Invos, I think is what they're called. And you know, the old tires that were on it were the Nenno, I think the 5.5s or something like that. And yeah, so just I guess little progress is better than no progress. So I guess that's the end of this video. If you like the videos, subscribe, comment below. Make sure to click that notification button and the little bell next to the subscribe button. Why is it so dark in here? Oh, it's because the lights. The notification button next to the subscribe button, so you get notifications when I post new videos. And thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.